I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. They don't want it when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me. Elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC Vegas 80. We are back from a 1 week off, and we have Grant Dawson going against Bobby Green. We have an 11-fight card. And yeah, should be a decent card here. Glad that we have fights back. UFC Vegas 80 should be solid overall. I do have a bunch of bets, most of them being sprinkles. I have 14 bets, 13 of which are plus money. So taking a lot of dart throws on this card. There's nothing that I really love from a betting perspective, but there are some very juicy spots sticking out. So I'll see if we can hit a couple of those. Before we get into the video, if you guys can please do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Tomorrow, I'll be going live for Best Bet, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. As of now, we have Blood Money MMA bets, and then we also have Patrick Addicted to Combat. So really good panel tomorrow for Best Bet. And yeah, so looking forward to being back here. Going to hit up the chat now. We got Sean, first one in the chat. What is up, Sean? Saying, let's go, Brady. Glad to see you in here, Sean. We got Tony in the chat as well. Hey, Brady, love Joe Pyfer tomorrow. He better move. He might get knocked. Yeah, 100%. I mean, Alhassan is a very, very, very dangerous guy, especially in that first round. We got Jackie in the chat saying, what's up, Brady? Let's perform some surgery on this card. Let's do it. Let's pick our spots and let's hit some bets here. We got Lord Tom D in the chat as well. Hi there. Good luck. Good luck to you as well. We got Jeff in the chat as well. Let's go, Brady. We cash in this weekend. That is always the goal. We got Bill in the chat as well. Missed a paycheck with missed a paycheck and now no fights last week, so I need to double my money for this card. Yeah, I'm not going crazy on this card, but I do have some big plus money spots. Hopefully a couple of those can come through. Thoughts on a Dober KO, Buckley money line, Pyfer into the distance parlay, plus 415 on FanDuel with the boost. I agree with all of those, and I did do a Hail Mary myself, and I have Dober KO in that. I have Buckley knockout in that, and then I have the Pyfer under 1.5. So we're kind of close on that there. We got Forrest in the chat. Brady, what fight are you most excited about to see on this UFC card? Mine is Joe Pyfer. I'm kind of with you there, man. I think it's got to be the Pyfer Abdulrazak Alhassan fight. That fight is going to be an absolute banger. I'm also looking forward to the Bill Algeo Alexander Hernandez fight. It's a fight that a lot of people are on the Hernandez side. I think this line's flipped. I'm curious to see how that fight kind of plays out. So I think it's between those two, but I'm kind of with you with the Pyfer fight. And of course, always, Drew Dober fights are going to be very fun and exciting. We got, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but I do recognize you commenting. I'm going to try it. Janin, something like that, or Jonin maybe. But yeah, appreciate you for hanging out. Appreciate you. No problem, man. No Bellator. Love the content. Yeah, no Bellator content for me. It just wouldn't be anywhere close to possible with Contender Series, especially and UFC. What is your best plus money bet? I have 13 plus money bets. There's not really one that I would say it's my favorite. But we'll talk about them. Let's see here. We got Borak in the chat. What is up? All right, guys. I say we're gonna get into it. And we're going to start here with the first fight on the card. And we have, and by the way, I don't know. All right, we're going to start with the first fight on the card. We have JJ Aldrich going against Montana De La Rosa. And I'm kind of upset that I did not tape this one earlier. So Montana De La Rosa, she was an underdog for a while. And by the time I taped it and got done researching the fight, she was no longer an underdog. I would have loved De La Rosa at some plus money. She actually opened up plus 170. She was sitting around plus 120 for a good week. And then just as of late, monies came in on her, and she's now the minus 145 favorite. So I don't want to lay minus 145 on her, but a spot that I do kind of like for Montana De La Rosa at big plus money is Montana De La Rosa inside the distance at plus 400. The reason being is Montana De La Rosa is a finisher. She really is. Whenever Montana De La Rosa is winning fights, she is winning them inside the distance. I think all but one of her wins in the UFC have come inside the distance. She was able to go out there and finish Ariana Lipski, which is a very good win. She was able to finish Nadia Kassem, and she was able to finish Rachel Ostovich, and she was also able to finish, I think, Christine Marks back in 2017. Her only decision win came against Mara Morella Borella, where she actually dropped her in the third round, was close to finishing her, had a couple submission attempts as well. So I think if Montana De La Rosa wins this fight, which she is favored to now, I think she's going to have opportunities to win this fight and win this fight inside the distance. JJ Aldrich is taking this fight on somewhat short notice. Montana De La Rosa should have the wrestling to get it down to the mat, and when she does get on top, I think she'll have opportunities to find a submission here in this fight. So took a half unit shot on Montana De La Rosa inside the distance, plus 400. And I don't think that's terrible for a fighter who's, like I said, has finished all but one of her wins by decision. For a fighter with a 75% finish rate. And she's taken on a fighter in JJ Aldrich who's been finished 3 times, 2 of which come in the UFC. From a DraftKings perspective, I'm full on fading JJ Aldrich. Even if Aldrich wins, I don't see much upside for her. If Aldrich wins, that probably means she's able to stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet. Aldrich, little to no takedown upside herself, and then very little to no finish upside herself as well. I was also looking at potentially the Montana De La Rosa finish only, aka the scorecards equals no action, but it's like minus 300 on DraftKings, and that kind of tells you everything you need to know there. But yeah, I like Montana on DraftKings quite a bit. 8,200. I think she'll be pretty low owned. And I think if she does win this fight, that means takedowns, that means control time, and that means a sneaky finish as well. So liking Montana De La Rosa from all aspects to hopefully kick off the night and potentially go out there and finish JJ Aldrich in this one here. Mr. Drill saying, get those likes up. Yeah, if you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button. Would appreciate that a ton. We got Brad in the chat. Let's run them racks up this weekend. Let's do it. Let's do it. Interesting. I was thinking Montana by decision, but I like the inside the distance. Yeah, I mean, decision's obviously the most likely scenario here for Montana De La Rosa, but that's only like plus 130, something like that. So she's only won 1 decision in her UFC career, and she's been in the UFC for a while now. Let's see. Montana has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Montana has 10 UFC fights, and she's actually only won 1 decision, believe it or not, which is it is kind of crazy to think about. Are you playing Prize Picks this week? Yes, I am. Did not get out a Prize Picks video. I went to record my Prize Picks video, and for some reason, Prize Picks wasn't working. And I'm assuming it's working now, but I just don't have time to get it out at this point. Fights are happening early tomorrow, so and maybe just my laptop or something. But yeah, looks like Prize Picks is still not working on my computer. So if it's not working on my computer, I obviously can't do a video. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, I do like Murata more on the takedowns. It was set at 2 last time, or when I put it in. And then I also like the Grant Dawson fight time less. I got it at 20 though, and it moved to 19.5, and I'm not sure what it is now. But yeah, Prize Picks literally is not working on my laptop. Not good. Not good. Hopefully it still works on my phone. De La Rosa's record is atrocious. It is. It is, but so is JJ Aldrich's. But that's a good point you bring up, Forrest. De La Rosa's losses. Tatiana Suarez, Macy Barber. I mean, Suarez would finish JJ Aldrich in 30 seconds. Macy Barber did finish JJ Aldrich. Mauro Bueno Silva would finish JJ Aldrich in the first round. Viviane Araújo, very underrated fighter. And then Andrea Lee, who's a solid fighter. Her worst loss is Andrea Lee, and Andrea Lee's a good fighter. So yeah, her record sucks, but she is fighting some pretty good competition. Which would you have as a double chance? It would be the submission. I mean, I don't see her TKOing Aldrich, but she did TKO Lipski for what it's worth. We got Eric in the chat. Late, all good, Eric. Thank you for showing up and hanging out here. We got Ray Gunn with a thumbs up there. We got a 8-legger. There we go. De La Rosa, Mendon, Kowalkiewicz, Algeo, Dober under 2.5, Buckley, Pyfer, Dawson under 4.5. Let's ride. I agree with every single leg, but 8-leggers are very, very hard to hit. Even like 3-leggers are very hard to hit in MMA. Anything can happen, but I do agree with all those legs for what it's worth. But would be a massive hit if you're able to come through there. All right, move on to the next fight. We have Mateus Mendon going against Nate Maness. A fight where I really wanted to see the weigh-ins for this fight, I guess. I mean, I didn't have any interest in betting this fight regardless, but I kind of did want to see the weigh-in just for my own interest because I just really don't think Nate Maness should be fighting at 125 pounds. It was actually Mendonca's first weight cut down to 125 as far as I'm concerned. Mendoza looked pretty good. He didn't look amazing, but he looked good. I guess I was maybe expecting the worst, but yeah, he looked fine. Mendonca looked fine. And then Nate Maness looked, pretty bad as expected. I don't have any action on this fight. There's no way you can lay this massive price tag on Mateus Mendon. I like him to win. But I mean, if you guys have watched my full card breakdown video, I kind of broke down that I just can't get Nate Maness fights right ever. Even when I get it right, I get it wrong because I had the under 2.5 rounds in the Umar Nurmagomedov fight. And somehow, some way, Umar Nurmagomedov could not finish Nate Maness with like 13 minutes of ground control. I had Johnny Munoz Jr. in a fight where I actually thought Johnny Munoz won the fight, controlled Nate Maness for over 10 minutes, but nope. They gave it to Nate Maness there. I had Luke Sanders. Luke Sanders was beating the crap out of Nate Maness for the first round and a half about, and then Luke Sanders goes out there and pulls a Luke Sanders and gets finished in the second. And then I had Tony Gravely. I was so confident in Tony Gravely against Nate Maness. Gravely goes out there. He literally knocks him out at the end of the first. The ref could have potentially stopped the fight. Nate Maness needed help getting up. I thought they were going to call off the fight, but no. And Nate Maness goes out there and starches Gravely in the second. So I just can't get Nate Maness fights right. I am 0 for 4 in terms of betting on Nate Maness fights. And there's just some fighters you can't get right. Like Nate Maness is that guy for me. So yes, I think Mendon should be the favorite here. I can never pick Nate Maness in a fight. I just don't like the guy in terms of a fighting style. He's super low volume. I think he has a very questionable ground game. He's landing less than 2 strikes per minute, 42% accuracy, a 40% striking defense. I don't think the takedown defense or ground game is great. So I got to pick Mendon's, but I have a feeling if I went out there and laid minus 250 on Mendon's, that, I mean, a lot could go wrong there, especially in an Nate Maness fight. So I'm going to pick Mendon's to win, but this is a fight that I just can't bet on. I mean, there's nothing that really sticks out, not even a plus money prop, nothing like that. If I was actually to take a shot on this fight, it would probably be a potential Nate Maness prop, if anything, but I'm going to stay away from this one. Not too crazy about it on DraftKings as well. Mendon's 9,000. I like a lot more fighters around this 9K range. I like I even Drew Dober more. I like Buckley more. I like Pyfer more. I like Dawson more. So I can't get to a ton of Mendon's. And then as far as Nate Maness, I struggle to get to him as well because I kind of think if Nate Maness wins, it's either a decision or maybe like a late comeback finish there. So give me Mendon's, but not a ton of interest in this fight. Let's see here. Montana and Dawson parlay is solid around plus, but it still should be plus money or very, very, very close to it. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I mean, that was expected, though. I mean, Nate looked off on the scales. I will say he probably looked better than he did the first time he cut against Tagir. But I think that was just because he looked like so bad. I mean, there it is. I mean, that's not good. I mean, that's not normal. But I think he got a little bit of an improvement, but still obviously not great. So I'm not touching this fight. Not touching it. Going to sit back and watch it. All right. Moving on. We have a fight that I am touching. We have Kanako Murata going against Vanessa Demopoulos. And we have Kanako Murata, pretty decent sized favorite here, minus 330. Vanessa Demopoulos, plus 270. So I do have a bet in this fight. I have a half unit shot on the fight to end in submission at plus 350. The reason being is I think Demopoulos is sub or bust. I mean, I've heard some people say Demopoulos could potentially win a decision. I mean, I'd be shocked if she won a decision because she's not going to win minutes in this fight. You can't win minutes off your back. I mean, I guess you could. Win minutes off your back, but it's going to be Murata that's going to get takedowns. She's going to get them very easily. Demopoulos can't stuff a takedown. The one time we saw, fighters take down Demopoulos, she folds like a lawn chair. So Murata If she wants takedowns, she will get takedowns. And Murata is a very, very good wrestler. She has very, very good control, and she's dangerous as well. You know, she has submissions. She has a 50% finish rate, 33% of those coming by submission. Demopoulos, a 44% submission rate. I think if Demopoulos wins this fight, it's a submission offer back. We've seen Murata get knocked out, technically a knockout against Verna Jandiroba, but Verna snapped her arm. That should have been a submission win. And then she also, Murata, had been finished a couple years prior before. So yeah, if Demopoulos wins, I think it's like an armbar from guard type situation. And then on top of that, I think Murata is going to get some opportunities herself. So I do like the fight to end by submission at big plus money, plus 350. Obviously, I think the most likely scenario is probably a Murata decision, but if she's going out there and getting 10, 11, 12, 13 minutes of control time, I think some things could potentially open up submission-wise there. From a DraftKings perspective, I really like Murata here. I really like the price tag of $8,900. I think she has a ton of takedown upside, control time upside as well. We talked prize picks a little bit. I like the Murata more than 2 takedowns. I think she can go out there and get, at the very least, 1 in each round. Or if Demopoulos is somehow able to get up, I think she's going right back down and pretty easily here. So I like Murata quite a bit. Obviously, WMMA, you don't want to lay minus 330. But outside of like an armbar from guard type situation, I think Murata goes out there and wins this pretty convincingly. Nate has fought far superior competition than this bum with no cardio. That's kind of crazy. You're calling Mendon's a bum. I mean, I don't think he's a bum at all. Do I think he should be minus 250? No, but to call him a bum, I don't know. Blom Dog saying, I like this scrap. Should be entertaining. I like Maness and Mendon's style matchup. Yeah, should be fun. Should be a fun fight. I'm not a big fan of Nate Maness fights, but it should be fun, I suppose. We got Freedom saying, I bet 900 on Dawson. I hope he dunks green on his head. I hate that guy. He's my least favorite fighter in UFC history. Wow. You hate Bobby Green? Why? I mean, I'm not the biggest Bobby Green fan in the world. I know people really like Bobby Green. He's kind of grown on me a little bit, but yeah, I've lost my fair share of money on Bobby Green, though, due to his antics in the cage. Maness is absolutely the side. Could be. I mean, Maness has surprised me 4 out of 5 fights. It actually surprised me in all 5 fights because getting submitted by Tigger Ulanbekov in the first round was also surprising. So yeah, I've been surprised in every single Nate Maness fight. So I would not be surprised if he goes out there and pulls it off this week. That's a terrible DK pick, Brady. Why do you think that? Why do you think somebody with a ton of wrestling upside? I love this price tag for Murata. She's probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. So, I mean, I don't know why you think it's a... Have you seen her wrestling? Like, her wrestling is very, very good. Demopoulos' wrestling is very, very bad. She's going to rack up control time, sneaky finish. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you think that's a horrible play there. Do you like Mendon's better at 9,000? I don't know. Money on the former exotic dancer. If you got to put money on, I would take a look at the sub prop there. A girl coming off a 2-year layoff due to a broken arm versus a former exotic dancer. Pass. Nothing wrong with passing ever. The picture you showed of Maness looked like someone that people should donate money to feed his villa. I mean, yeah, he looked bad. He looked very, very bad. Green is a heck of a fighter. If he would settle down a bit in the cage, yeah, I think he's a very good fighter, Bobby Green. Just an absolute very good fighter there. All right, we'll keep moving on. We have Johnny Munoz Jr. going against Richie Long. This is probably my least favorite fight on the entire card. I don't have a strong read on it. I could not possibly put any money on Johnny Munoz Jr. after his last fight where he kind of straight up quit. He quit in that fight. He went out there. He started, pulling guard. He looked like he didn't want to be there, and I can't put money on a quitter. With that said, though, if Johnny Munoz Jr. does get this fight down to the mat, I think he could potentially find a sub here. But I actually think Richie Long's takedown defense is underrated. I've heard people crapping on it this week. And yeah, I mean, on paper, 55%, that's bad. But I mean, getting taken down 4 or 5 times by Cody Durden is not the worst look in the world. Whereas, Cody Durden's a phenomenal wrestler. He took down Charles Johnson like 11, 12 times. So I don't hold that Durden fight against him too much. And he did a good job getting back up every single time. He got taken down twice by Jay Perrin, but did a really good job getting back up every single time. Jay Perrin was able to hold him against the cage in the third, but that's about it. So it's a close fight. It's a pick 'em for a reason. I'm surprised the line's kind of stayed where it has because I really don't see anybody on Richie Long. And as far as a pick, I'm picking Richie Long, but I don't like Richie Long either. I don't like either of these guys. So this is going to be one where I'm going to stay away from. I think this fight probably goes to decision. If there's a finish, it's probably a Johnny Munoz sub, but it's a fight that I'm just going to stay away from. From a DraftKings perspective, I'd actually lean the Johnny Munoz side. He's cheaper at 8K. He has all the wrestling upside. And like I said, if he's able to get this fight to the mat, secure position, he's going to be the better grappler by a mile. So from a DraftKings perspective, I'm kind of looking at the Munoz side, but from a betting perspective, I'm kind of staying away from this one here. We got Get Darst saying, hello, Brady. What is up, Get Darst? How you doing? Green, a lot of nervous energy at face-offs. I'm with Brady for sure on Dawson. I mean, yeah, it should be Dawson all day. This fight is a smoke break for no reason to place any money on it. Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't smoke, but yeah, I agree. I like Iori to quite a bit to get the win. I picked Iori to beat Zahabi. I did. I'm not sure what that has to do with this fight. And I didn't bet that fight regardless. But yep, you caught me. I got a fight wrong, and I will try to do better next time. Get Darsh choked. Sorry, off topic, but any news when Chris Curtis is fighting again? He was supposed to fight. Who the heck was he supposed to fight? I think he was supposed to fight Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, and then he got hurt or something. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think he might be injured at this point. All right, but yeah, that fight kind of sucks. We got the High Owl in the chat. What is up, High Owl? But yeah, not looking forward to that fight. We can move on to the next fight, where I'm also not really looking forward to it. These prelims, to be honest, are kind of rough, but the main card I think is very, very good. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, Gianna Belbita. Yeah, I like Karolina Kowalkiewicz as far as a win. I was hoping for a better line. It looks like it's not going to happen. Laying chalk on a 38-year-old at this point, not really something I want to do, but I think she has paths to victory here. It's just, will she use those paths to victory or not? And I'm not entirely sure she will, but the path to victory is going to be getting this fight down to the mat. We've seen Belbita taken down by lesser fighters like Gloria DePaula, Molly McCann, fighters like that. I think even Hannah Goldie took her down a couple times. And if Karolina Kowalkiewicz did lose this fight, it would probably be the worst loss in her entire career. Karolina, her record on paper does not look amazing, but she's fought very, 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 very good competition. Losses to Yan Jiaonan, Alexa Grasso, Michelle Watterson, Andrade, Gadelia, and Joanna and Jacek. I mean, she's lost to very, very good fighters, although she has lost a lot. And I don't think Belbita belongs in the same category as a Yan Jiaonan or a Grasso or an Andrade, even though Andrade kind of is looking horrible at this point of her career. So, yeah, should be Karolina. But do I want to bet it? No, I don't really want to bet it at all. So Karolina, probably by decision, probably competitive, especially if she doesn't wrestle. If she doesn't grapple, we're looking at a very competitive fight. And laying minus 150 on a competitive fight is not really something I want to do. So easy pass for me. From a DraftKings perspective, I actually kind of lean the Belbita side. You're getting a $1,000 savings, and her volume's incredible. Like, if Karolina decides to not grapple, and Belbita is able to keep it standing for 15 minutes, she throws 6.59, or she lands 6.59 significant strikes per minute. I mean, that's the highest on the card there in Belbita. So I think from a DraftKings perspective, I don't mind Belbita, especially for cash games, but this is a fight I will not be touching from a betting perspective. We got Weezy in the chat saying, oi, what is up, Weezy? We got Tajik Bey in the chat saying, oh, I got some oys in the chat. What is up, guys? Hopefully you all are doing well. Karolina Kowalkiewicz is hot. Yeah, she's not bad. She's not bad. I'm not going to pull up that comment, Freedom. Both comment. I'm not going to pull up either comment there. My goodness, Freedom. Ready to make some money. Let's go. Let's get it. The only thing that makes me nervous about KK is the age difference, but she should win. Yeah, the age difference. I mean, it's a big age difference, right? Karolina's 37, Belbita 27. Yeah, I can understand that. Cougar for the win. There you go. I have Belbita. This is a pretty interesting fight. I see Karolina looking a touch slow compared, plus struggling with range. Yeah, if she strikes with Belbita, Belbita could win that fight. It's just, I think Karolina has a couple paths to victory here. I could see a robbery here. Yeah, I could too. I mean, any fight that goes to decision, you can see a robbery on any given week. I mean, these judges are horrible. Struggling to make a DK lineups without one of the women's fights. Not really liking any of them. Yeah, for cash, I actually like Belbita. I like the price savings there. I like Montana De La Rosa, to be honest, at 8,200. And then what is the other female fight? And then I know Sean V is not a big fan of Murata at 8,900, but I do like Murata as well at 8,900 there. We got Jason in the chat. What's up, Brady? What is up, Jason? How you doing? We got Lexicon agreeing with Freedom there. And again, I can't pull up the comment there. I don't want to get demonetized. And we got Jacob in the chat. I'm late. UFC is back, but yes, it is. Yes, it is. And looking forward to it being back. We have some good cards coming up. We have UFC 294 in 2 weeks. We have UFC 295 November 11th. I have that date circled. On paper, looks to be one of the best, if not the best card of the year, that UFC 295 card. And then 296 is just about as good as 295. So we have some very, very good cards to end the year. Mike Bell been sacked. I haven't heard Bruce say his name in a while when introducing the judges. Yeah, I haven't either. Maybe he took some time off. I don't know, but I'm assuming he will probably be back there. So what's this card's Tamara's Vidal? I don't know if we're going to see it tomorrow. We might see one next week, but this week I don't think there's going to be a Vidal situation. But yeah, that was rough. That was rough. And I'm glad I ended up not betting on the Vidal fight. If I did end up betting that fight, I probably wouldn't be here today because I would have been so embarrassed to have any money on Tamara's Vidal. Just brutal. Okay, let's move on to the next fight. This is... So they actually changed the bout order up. I think they have Kudlaev, Linz as the feature prelim, Bill Algeo, Hernandez kicking off the main card. But we'll talk about Bill Algeo, Alexander Hernandez first. This is probably, like we talked about earlier, I think my first or second favorite fight on the card. This is a fight where it's a fight where I think we're going to learn a lot about Alexander Hernandez here. This is going to be a second cut to 145 pounds in this one. We saw at the weigh-ins that it looks like Algeo is going to be a lot bigger. That was expected. You know, Algeo's 6 foot, Alexander Hernandez 5'9". But yeah, I was kind of surprised how much bigger Algeo did look like than Alexander Hernandez. But this is a fight that for me, it comes down to a couple things. Like if Alexander Hernandez has good cardio, I would be betting him here. And if Alexander Hernandez had good durability, I would be betting him here. I think Hernandez skill for skill is the better fighter. I like the striking more. I like the wrestling more. I think Hernandez is going to be able to dictate where this fight takes place. The problem with Hernandez and why I can't pick him or bet him is we've seen him just slow down in so many fights. We've seen him slowed down. We've seen him broken. And we've seen him finished in so many fights. You know, Donald Cerrone finished him in the second. Drew Dober finished him in the second. Renato Moicano finished him in the second. Billy Quarantillo finished him in the second. He slowed down in the Thiago Moises fight. And then, yes, he looked, better against Jim Miller. But as we know, Jim Miller is 40 years old. And Jim Miller typically has one round, if not maybe a round and a half of cardio at this point of his career. And that was at 155. This is back down to 145. This is his second fight at 145. And there's just no evidence that Hernandez has fixed the cardio, has fixed the durability issue. There's no evidence of that for me to go off of. So I think it's going to play out like a typical Alexander Hernandez fight. I think Hernandez wins the first round at a very high clip. I really do. I think Hernandez can even get takedowns. I think Hernandez could even potentially hurt Bill Algeo in the first round. But as this fight goes on, I just see Hernandez slowing down like he always does. Always. I see him slowing down. I see him breaking. And I think at some point, Bill Algeo is going to find a late finish here. So the line flipped. Obviously, a lot of sharp people are on the Alexander Hernandez side. That is the sharp play of the week, Hernandez. And Hernandez is now minus 120. And Bill Algeo is anywhere from plus 100 to plus 105, which is weird because there was a lot of people on Bill Algeo earlier this week at around minus 150. So this line is completely flipped. Hernandez is now the favorite. So I will be picking Algeo here. But what I did was I took a quarter unit shot on what I think is Algeo's path to victory. And what I think his path to victory is I think he probably does need a finish late. Because if this fight does go the distance, I actually favor Hernandez in that decision. And like I said, I think Hernandez is going to win the first round. So I think Algeo will need a late finish. So I did sprinkle the 2-3 props round, and they're juicy. They're very juicy this week. Round 2 is plus 950. And then round 3 is plus 1,600, which are pretty ridiculous numbers considering we've seen Hernandez finished in the second round 4 times in the UFC. So I'm taking some late round props on Algeo. I think there will be opportunities here, and those props are just too juicy for me to ignore in that one. I also think the decision only for Hernandez could be something to look at as well. That is also plus money. I think it's a great fight to target on DraftKings. I think Hernandez has a good chance to I don't think he finishes Bill Algeo, but I think he can mix in takedowns. I think it's going to be a high volume, high paced fight war to begin with. So yeah, if Hernandez pulls off this upset, he's going to score well. And then I think Algeo with his pace, he can put up a really big score as well. So I think it's a great fight to target here on DraftKings. We got Landon in the chat. He's saying, this is the first time I've been able to catch you live. Just wanted to say thanks. Have followed for over a year and had a lot of success listening. Thanks, bro. Thank you, Landon, for tuning in, and thank you for following over the last year there. Joe Pyfer by KO. Do I like the numbers? We'll talk about that fight in a second. No, I really don't, to be honest. Joe Pyfer by knockout is minus 150 to minus 175, which I would be very cautious laying that much chalk on a knockout prop. Vidal is very bad. That is the truth. That is the truth. Alexander Hernandez called Billy Algeo a Taekwondo Billy Q. I'm saying line movement massive late on Alexander the Great. Yeah, big line movement. Big giant line movement. Senior Perfecto for the win. Yeah, I'm not changing my pick. I'm not letting line movement scare me personally. What's the best bet you've ever placed, Brady? For me, it's Matt Schnell, sub 2, Sumadarji. Phenomenal bet there, get Darst. I think I had Sumadarji by knockout in that fight, which was very sad because Sumadarji dropped Schnell like 4 times. But the best bet that I've ever placed was probably recently. It was this year. I've been hitting a lot of these lately. I had Nate Landwehr submission round 2. I think it was like plus 3,100, something like that. I think it was plus 3,300. Or Daniel Zellhuber round 2 submission, which again was like plus 3,100. So I'll say either Landwehr sub 2 or Zellhuber sub 2. And then even last week, I know it was fluky or whatever, but Cody Brundage round 1 got it done by any means necessary there. Crazy that Hernandez is the favorite now. Lots of people on him. Lots of really sharp people on him as well. And I get it. I just can't trust him personally. I think Hernandez has very limited success, even fresh, and gets finished first or second. Hopefully it's a second round. What is saying? Hernandez by decision, plus 350 is my dog pick of the week. Like the over 2.5 rounds here as well. Yeah, I think if it goes to decision, it's Hernandez all day. It's just, can he survive those last 2 rounds is going to be the question I'm looking forward to, because we've seen him melted so many times. Hernandez is a quitter. Can't trust him past 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah, I do think he's a quitter as well. But maybe he's able to turn a corner. I just haven't seen it yet. I just haven't seen him turn a corner yet. Wheezy for president. I agree. I think we need somebody like Wheezy in the office. I can agree with that, Sean. Nothing will ever meet Algeo's win over Herbert Burns when Burns refused to stand up and ended up getting carried out of the cage like a baby by Gilbert. Yeah, that was kind of tough to watch. It was kind of very awkward to watch there. Line movements seem strange. Not really for me. I see a lot of people on Hernandez, have all week, really. Let's see here. What are you thinking about Kudlaev KO in the first 2 minutes? This should be very fast. Yeah, if Kudlaev wins, it is a KO1, but the odds are crap on it. We got Justin in the chat. I'm here, Brady. Have Munoz by submission. I'm not betting on that fight, but I think if I was to bet that fight, it would be a Munoz submission prop there. Appreciate that, Darst. We got Dave in the chat. Hernandez performs well, in my opinion. I think he has his diet and a weight cut dialed in. That's the rumor, but I got to see it first. I got to see it dialed in because I haven't seen it yet. But if it is dialed in, he should be able to win this fight. Duplessis sub 3 versus Till was massive. Yeah, I think I had like an under in that fight that barely came through. But yeah, that is a great hit there. Algeo isn't a Billy Q. He's more like Homer Simpson that relies on his opponent to gas out, trying to put him away. Yeah, he's not Billy Q, but kind of similar. I like Lins and Ion under 2.5. I do as well, but it's very chalky there. All right, let's move on to the Ion Kudlaev Philipe Lins fight. I don't really like much here. Ion Kudlaev fights are always a mess to predict because this guy is so unreliable. His fight IQ is terrible. He makes poor decision after poor decision. He's a complete madman, a complete wild man. You never know what to expect in a Kudlaev fight. I thought the under 1.5 rounds was a good bet earlier in the week. I should have bet it. I'm not sure why I didn't at plus money, but it is no longer anywhere near plus money. I think Propaholic, shout out to Propaholic. I think he got it like plus 145. It's now minus 145. So missed the boat on the under 1.5 rounds. But if you got early in the week, I think that's solid. I think, this fight going 7.5 minutes is not entirely likely. I have a small shot here on a prop that I think is pretty live here. And absolutely not. I do not have any bets on Carolina. I'm staying away from that fight, but I do pick her to win. And no units on Bellator. I was looking at maybe making like a parlay, but it's not really my thing. So I ended up staying away. But anyway, so the prop I did sprinkle on was Philipe Lins by submission plus 850 for a core unit, just due to the fact that, like I said, Kudlaev makes so many mistakes, mistake after mistake after mistake. He's going to wrestle and he's going to make mistakes on the mat. We've seen him get submitted many times. Kudlaev has been submitted 4 times. And one of those times did come against Johnny Walker, which is completely inexcusable. And then another time came against Ryan Spann, which is a lot less inexcusable, but still not the best look in the world. Who else did he get submitted by? Got submitted by Glover Teixeira. Got submitted by Misha Serkinov. I mean, this guy gets submitted a lot. He gets finished a lot in general. Got knocked out by Magomed Ankalaev twice. He got knocked out by Kennedy Nzechukwu. I mean, he gets finished so many times. So, Kudlaev, I think, has a good chance to get submitted here. So that Philipe Lins by submission is something I'm going to be looking at. And now that I'm talking it over, I might want to just take a look at Lins inside the distance in general. And I want to take a look and see what that is, because if it's decent, I might take a shot at that as well. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if Kudlaev wins this fight, I think it's going to be by first round knockout. I really don't see any other path. And then we have Kudlaev by first round knockout is probably, they're probably all over it. Plus 175 for the first round in general, and then plus 275 for the first round KO. I don't think that's terrible, actually. But yeah, Philipe Lins, I think, has potential to catch a sub here or potentially knock him out. Philipe Lins inside the distance is actually not bad at plus 200. So I might actually add Philipe Lins inside the distance, because we've seen Kudlaev finish like it's ridiculous. He's been finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the UFC. Like that's Malcolm Gordon numbers. So give me Philipe Lins to finish the fight. I have the sub prop, but I might add on to the inside the distance there. From a DraftKings perspective, both sides are very much in play. Obviously, Kudlaev is very much in play at 8,300. If he wins, it's a first-round finish. And he's going to put up a big score. And then Philipe Lins, I think, is a very live dog that can go out there and pull it off. His fights are most definitely 1-800 gambler, that's for sure. Lins, easy money. I hope so. Lins round 2 submission plus 3,100. You heard it here first. I've heard it actually many times this week, and that is something that I had put up as well. The only reason I didn't play it was because I could see it potentially happening in the first. But yeah, I think round 2 and round 3 could be interesting, but I don't see this fight lasting too long. So Blood Money has a max unit play. Blood Money will be on Best Bet tomorrow, so I'm sure he's going to talk about that. And I agree. I mean, it's a clear dog or pass. I mean, you can't lay chalk on somebody like Ion, who has 5 minutes of gas and who makes terrible decisions in the cage. Uncle Weez is saying I have 1 unit on his Lins money line plus 135. Hopefully, Blood Money is right on his max bet. I think it's a side, like, regardless, just because, like I said, you can't lay chalk on Ion Kudlaev ever. We got General Nylin hanging out. What is up? We got Blumdo saying who's the guy that pops up on the screen live with like a house on Jan Blachowicz one savvy better. It always says probably fake A. I'm not sure. And we got, is Lins the best dog on the card? I'd say so. I think either Lins or I'd say so. I'd say it's Lins. So yeah, I'm on that sub, but I might add the inside the distance for Philipe Lins, and I actually want to see. And I mean, I'm still going with Algeo with even the line flip. So I'm picking the fight to finish inside the distance. I'm picking Algeo to get Hernandez out of there late. And I did sprinkle the Algeo late props there as well, just for a quarter, and just because that's typically how Hernandez loses fights. So let's see here. I want to see what Philipe Lins inside the distance is on Bet Rivers. I'm hoping it's something decent. So Philipe Lins inside the distance on Bet Rivers is plus 210. Not bad. Not bad. So I might be adding that. I'll be doing my betting breakdown video right after this. So that'll be there. Pyfer by decision. A decision would kind of shock me, to be honest. But anything can happen. This is MMA. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. We got Drew Dober going against Ricky Glenn. Yeah, when I first saw this fight, I kind of laughed. Like, this fight probably shouldn't be sanctioned. So I'm not sure who allowed this fight to happen here, but I think they're doing it because they want Drew Dober to get back on track after going out there and losing to Matt Frevola by knockout, which, definitely shocked me. I mean, I was really never expecting Drew Dober to get knocked out in the UFC. He's just shown such a good chin throughout his career. But yeah, I mean, Dober got knocked out, and I think they're trying to get back on track here against Ricky Glenn, who, quite frankly, just has looked awful in his last fight against Christos Giagos. He looked terrible. He looked washed in that fight, and it's a fight that didn't even last that long, but he just looked bad. And I think Ricky Glenn, although he's the same age as Drew Dober, I think there's something up with Ricky Glenn. I mean, he's had just massive layoffs the last couple of years. I think he's probably just been dealing with, a bunch of injuries the last couple of years. And although Drew Dober has taken a lot more damage probably than Ricky Glenn, for sure, it looks like Drew Dober is still more so in his prime than Ricky Glenn. I mean, Ricky Glenn, I think he's kind of on his way out, or at least that's what it looks like. So yeah, I think it's a good bounce back spot for Dober. I think Dober probably knocks out Glenn in the first round. And how I played it was I put a half unit shot on Drew Dober round 1 knockout, plus 200, and then a half unit shot on Drew Dober round 2 knockout, plus 470. I think Dober knocks out Glenn within the first 2 rounds. From a DraftKings perspective, I don't mind Dober this week. He's not my favorite play in the world. I do like Joe Pyfer more than Drew Dober. I do like Grant Dawson more than Drew Dober. I probably like Buckley a little bit more than Drew Dober, especially with the price savings, but I still think Dober's in play, and he's still in play for a knockout. So like Drew Dober, I think he goes out there and finishes Ricky Glenn in very, very brutal fashion. I mean, if Ricky Glenn shows up and looks anything like he did against Giag, I mean, Drew Dober's running through this guy within a couple minutes. Ricky Glenn by decision, that would be a shocking outcome. I don't know, man. Glenn by decision, I don't know. Green by sub, Bobby Green? I don't think so. Which fights are potentially going the distance? I think most of the prelims probably do. I think the Carolina fight should. The Munoz fight could. The Murata fight, although I'm betting the fight ends by sub, it probably could. The Mendon's fight, Maness fight probably could. The Aldrich De La Rosa fight obviously could. It's heavily favored too. I think the majority of the prelims, but I think a lot of this main card finishes. I think the main event finishes, the co-main event, the Buckley fight, the Dober fight, and the Linz fight. I think the whole main card probably finishes inside the distance there. What's up, Cuba? Think Belbita finish only is worth anything? It probably pushes, to be honest. I mean, if you want to play it, I think it pushes. 1.74. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't touch it personally, but if that's your read, it's not the worst look in the world. All right. So yeah, moving on. We have Joaquin Buckley going against Alex Morono. And the spot that was sticking out all week for me was the fight to end by knockout. We have Joaquin Buckley, who just has a ton of power, 75% finish rate. All those come by knockout. And he's also been knocked out 4 times. And I think all 4 of those times came in the UFC. Let me double check here. Joaquin Buckley got knocked out by Chris Curtis. He got knocked out by Alessio Di Chirico. Horrible look. He got knocked out by Kevin Hall, and then I guess he got knocked out against somebody else outside the UFC as well. So, Alex Morono showed up today at weigh-ins and looked horrible. He looked worse than Nate Maness. He looked worse than Mateus Mendon, who both cut down to 125. He looked awful. I think they were waiting for somebody to go to the scale or whatever. They were calling her or he, whatever. And Morono had to actually wait there and not get on the scale until that person showed up or whatever. And then Morono was waiting there, and then he starts putting his hands on his knee. He looked exhausted. And I'm sure you can find the picture on Twitter, but he looked just absolutely exhausted. And I will pull it up. And I remember seeing it on Mike's MMA pick. Shout out to Mike's MMA with the pick here. And there it is. I mean, that's not good. I mean, come on. So, yeah, that's not great. That's not too great. So, yeah, I mean, I think Buckley probably knocks out Alex Morono here. Morono is a very popular dog. I kind of understand because I think minute for minute, it's going to be a very close fight. It's just, I think Buckley has just fight ending power. We've seen Morono get hurt and knocked out. We've seen him get hurt more often as of late. And then it looks like he just had a brutal, brutal weight cut. So I think Buckley catches him at some point. I like the fight to end by knockout. I think somebody's getting slept in this one. I think they're going to stand and bang. I don't see Morono going for takedowns. He never does. So yeah, I think a knockout is likely in this one. When are the prize picks coming out? I mean, I wasn't planning on doing a prize picks video this week. But maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. I got to figure out why prize picks is not showing up on my laptop where I record my videos. And I'm going to check to see if it's showing up on it's showing up on my phone perfectly fine. So I don't know. And it's showing up on my other laptop as well, perfectly fine. Just not my laptop where I use for recording stuff. So got to figure that out. Morono always seems to look bad at the weigh-ins. I mean, yeah, he always seems to not look the best, but I mean, I haven't really recalled him, ever doing this before is the thing. I mean, I've never seen him do that. And if you have, let me know, but I haven't ever seen him basically die before the weigh-ins. Murata by KO, he's going to try for it. Buckley's been knocked out. I don't think Buckley has the best chin. That's why I like the fight ending by knockout. Bet your house on Green. That's horrible advice. Don't bet your house on anything, especially Bobby Green. I mean, that's terrible advice there. We got Jason saying I'm taking the dog shot on Lins to win by KO or decision. I would kind of lean KO or sub. I think the sub's sneaky live. I really do. Kudlaev gets submitted so many times. Lins is a black belt. He has submissions on his record. So I would kind of look at the KO sub, and I might be betting that as well. We'll see. All right. Doing very good on time. We're going to move on to the co-main event. We have Joe Pyfer going against Abdulrazak Alhassan. And yeah, I think there's some props that really stick out in this fight here to me. And the props that do stick out is first and foremost, I mean, yeah, if you bet your house on anything, I mean, there's a good chance you could be homeless. But I'm hoping when people say that they're just joking, because people say it every week. And bankroll management is key, 110%. All right. Anyway, so back to this fight. I think if you're on the Alhassan side, or even if you're not on the Alhassan side, like his first round knockout prop is the way to go. His first round knockout prop, it was plus 1,000 last night. I should have bet it. Didn't bet it. Woke up today, was plus 950. I put a quarter unit on Abdulrazak Alhassan to win by first round knockout, plus 950. 12 wins for Abdulrazak Alhassan. 12 come by knockout. 11 of them come in the first round. The one that came in the second was like 30 seconds into the second round. So it's safe to say if Alhassan does win this fight, it's probably a first round knockout. And I guess this fight all comes down to the game plan of Joe Pyfer. If Joe Pyfer wants to go out there and see who is the hardest hitter in the fight, I mean, it could end up poorly. I mean, if Joe Pyfer goes out there and tries to stand and bang with Abdulrazak Alhassan, could he win that fight? Sure, he could, but why? Why would you stand with one of the hardest hitters in the division when he has no ground game? I mean, Abdulrazak Alhassan's takedown defense is horrible. We've seen him taken down so many times, and if Pyfer's able to get this fight down to the mat, he's going to have such a significant advantage. Joe Pyfer's a Renzo Gracie Philly guy, training with guys like Sean Brady, Andre Petrosky. That gym is full of killers that are very good on the ground. And Joe Pyfer is as well. It's just Joe Pyfer, he has power. He's used that power. He's had success. But now Joe Pyfer, it is time to show off that grappling, get this fight down to the mat. And I think if he does, he makes this look pretty easy. But, Joe Pyfer can make this fight look a lot harder than it needs to be. Could he go out there and knock out Alhassan? Sure, he could. But with such a clear path to victory on the mat, I would like him to take it. So Joe Pyfer by submission is something that I did bet for a quarter unit at plus 600. I think that should be his path to victory. Will he take that path to victory? That is yet to be seen. And then I also sprinkled the round 2 and round 3 for Pyfer sub 2 plus 3,100, 0.15 units. Sub 3 plus 5,500 on DraftKings, 0.10 units. So I'm only 0.75 units invested into this fight, hoping for an Alhassan KO1 or a Joe Pyfer sub. I'll be happy with either outcome. I think the most likely outcome is probably a Joe Pyfer knockout, but Joe Pyfer by knockout's like minus 175, so you can't really do much with that. So, yeah, I like Pyfer here. I like Pyfer to hopefully fight smart, get the fight down to the mat, and find the sub at some point in this one here. I think the unders are parlay pieces this week. I don't have any parlays this week, but I think the unders are parlayable this week. I don't see this fight going 7.5. Especially don't see the fight going 12.5. I was trying to find another parlay piece that I really like to pair with the under 2.5, but nothing on this card that I really am in love with from a parlay perspective. Thought about parlaying something up next week, but it was a WMMA fighter, and I think it would be irresponsible to kind of do something like that. So, yeah, Pyfer by sub is what I'm looking at. On DraftKings, I think it's a great fight to target. Pyfer has grappling upside, finish upside, early finish upside, and Abdulrazak Alhassan, 6,900. If he wins this fight, I think there's only really one outcome, and that is a first-round knockout for Abdulrazak Alhassan. So, great fight to target on DK, but I think Pyfer gets it done in this one. Do you guys hate Cody Brundage? I don't hate Cody Brundage, but I'm sure a lot of people did or do hate Cody Brundage because I'm sure that ruined just a ton of parlays. I actually had the Cody Brundage to win in round number 1 prop at plus 1,700. Not exactly how I drew it out, but it is what it is. But yeah, so many people hate Cody Brundage at this point. I don't hate him, but it is what it is. Rank according to your confidence: Dawson, Pyfer, Dober, Murata. I'd say Murata number 1. I know Sean V's not going to like that, but Murata number 1. Dober probably number 2. Dawson number 3. And those 3 are all very close. I mean, those all 3 are very interchangeable. And then Pyfer number 4. We got Parlay with the 499. Appreciate you, Parlay. He's saying late, but good to see everybody. Let's make some money. Appreciate the dono. And yeah, hopefully you do well as well. Parlay Patton, and best of luck to you tomorrow there. We got Blom saying Joe Pyfer sub 2 and 3 at those odds I really like. I mean, yeah, just ridiculous odds. And the path is there. The path is there. Do you like violence in the Hernandez fight? I'm late. Not entirely. I did sprinkle the Algeo 2-3 props because that's typically when Hernandez loses fights is 2-3. So that's kind of how I'm playing it. Only 0.5 units invested in that one. Pyfer is giving me a reason to root for America again. Brady, did you hear him spit venom at the media day yesterday? Yes, I did. I caught a clip of it where he went out there and he did spit venom, and he did back up his guy Sean Brady as well, which was nice to see. But yeah, shout out to Joe Pyfer. Hopefully he goes out there and gets a good win, and preferably does it in the second round by submission. I have Pyfer round 1 to finish at minus 110. You really? Where did you get those odds at? Because I would bet that as well, but I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna have anything anywhere near that. Let's see here. Let's take a look. Go to Bet Rivers. That'd be under round. It's minus 182 for me. So yeah, I mean, I'm not getting anywhere near plus or minus 110. Do you think that Arichi Long wins? I'm picking him to win, but with like negative 50 confidence. I'm not touching that fight. I think he shoots immediately. Pyfer? He should. He should. He really should. But I'm kind of worried he goes out there and tries to see who's the harder hitter. But we got Alex in the chat. What is up, Alex? We got Grilly saying hyped for Bill Algeo. He's from my hometown, King of Prussia. Heck yeah. Hopefully he goes out there and gets a win. I'm picking to win, but I know a lot of people are not. So we'll see. What's up with the Algeo line flip? Lots of very sharp money, very sharp people on the Hernandez money line. Hernandez is the sharp play of the week, it looks like. Pyfer rear naked choke round 2. Would love to see it. Would love to see it. Bulgarian bookie. Yeah, I can't. I don't have access to Bulgarian books, unfortunately. Pyfer has round 1 minus 110. I kind of want the round 1 or 2 as well. But yeah, we'll move on to the main event. Drew Dober loses to white dudes. Is that true? Let's take a look. So Drew Dober's losses, yeah, they are all white dudes. That looks to be true. Fun fact. And Glenn is white, so we'll see. Hassan round 1 sneaky. Yeah, I played it. 950 for the KO one. I think he got to, even though I'm on the Pyfer side. I think that's his path to victory. But yeah, we got the main event. We got Grant Dawson going against Bobby Green here. Grant Dawson is, I believe, the biggest favorite on the card now. Yes, he is. Minus 520 for Grant Dawson. And yeah, I like Grant Dawson here a lot. I think he makes it look a lot easier than some people are expecting. I think he's going to take down Bobby Green. I don't really think Bobby Green's going to be able to do anything about it. I don't think Bobby Green's going to be able to stop Grant Dawson from getting into dominant positions, whether that be mount, whether that be taking the back. And although I think Bobby Green's a really good fighter, I really do. I think he's really well-rounded. I just think Grant Dawson, especially at this day and age, is just a level above Bobby Green, especially when it comes to the ground game. So, yeah, I like Dawson here, and I think Dawson makes this look pretty easy, and I think he gets it done within the first 3 rounds. If the fight does get to the 4th or 5th, I do have some concerns. We have seen Dawson slow down in the past, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think Dawson gets him out of there in the 2nd or 3rd. That's typically when Dawson gets his finishes, 2nd or 3rd round. He's a ton of 3rd round finishes, especially. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here. From a betting perspective, I do have a half unit shot on Grant Dawson to win in either round 1, 2, or 3 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Plus 120, half a unit on that. I think that's how he wins the fight. I think it's early. I think it's in the first 3 rounds. And like I said, if it does reach the 4th, I'm kind of worried at that point. And then I also took a quarter unit shot on Grant Dawson by knockout. Obviously, I think submission is more likely, but the knockout prop at plus 500 for a quarter unit, I could see like a positional TKO. Grant Dawson getting into mount, pounding away and the ref stepping in, something like that. So I think the KO could be live. The TKO could be live at plus 500 there. So half a unit, round 1, 2, 3, plus 120, then a quarter unit on the Dawson KO plus 500. I think the sub is like plus 130. And like I said, I lean sub, but I could see a TKO here very, very well as well. We saw Islam Makhachev go out there and TKO Bobby Green pretty easily as well. So just another reason I kind of like that. From a Draftkings perspective, not touching much Bobby Green, if any at all. I think Dawson 9,400 is my favorite play on the slate. Just a ton of takedown upside, ton of control time upside, and I think he finishes Bobby Green within 3 as well. So love Grant Dawson this week. He's a big favorite for a reason. I think he goes out there and goes through Bobby Green. And I also think Bobby Green's trying to get into Grant Dawson's head. At the weigh-ins today, Green was like something. I think Green was trying to make Dawson strike with him or something. He was talking about how he saw a video of Dawson striking with Bobby Green, and he wanted Grant Dawson to do that in the fight. But Grant Dawson said something along the lines of he's going to hump Bobby Green's leg for 25 minutes. At least he was honest. Parlay Lins, Buckley, Morono fight won't go. Pyfer by sub round 2. No, don't do that. I would not do that. I would definitely not do that unless you want to lose money. I mean, I'm picking all those outcomes, but I mean, just hitting a round 2 in a parlay would be ridiculous. I would play them all straight because I think they're all Lindsay's plus money. Pyfer by sub 2 could be a sprinkle, and then the Morono fight won't go could be solid as well. Sometimes my bookie has really weird odds, which I don't get, but I don't really care as long as I hit them. Heck yeah. Olawajuwon in the building. What is up? Parlaying Lens is insane. Yeah, it is insane. And I'm picking Lens. I would not parlay Lens, but I know people like their parlays. And by the way, 2 weeks ago, I had probably one of my favorite nights of the year. I barely bet anything. My ROI was well over 100%. And then some guy just commented the most ridiculous comment I've ever seen, pretty much blaming me for ruining his parlays. I ruined this guy's parlays. I ruined this guy's round robins 2 weeks ago, which is kind of funny considering I didn't give out any parlays 2 weeks ago, but he was mad. It was probably the meanest comment I've ever gotten. But yeah, I ruined this guy's parlays. I ruined this guy's round robins, which was kind of weird because, like I said, I gave out no parlays, and I haven't for a while. But I know people love their parlays, and people like blaming me for them not hitting for some reason. So I always try to be cautious with parlays, but I know people really like them there. I like that. Yeah, plus 500 could be worth a shot. Like I said, I think it's sub, but I could see a potential TKO there. Yep, that is true. That is true. And it was a weird face-off. I agree. Alex saying press the like button. I agree with that as well. Vittori versus Holland replay could potentially be. Which round 2 probably more confident in Lin's sub 2 or Algeo round 2? Obviously the Algeo one, but it's hard to have a ton of confidence in like plus 1,000 plus props, to be honest. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I've never I've been doing this for 5-6 years. I've never recommended a round robin, but apparently it was my fault that I ruined this guy's round robins. So yeah, I guess it's all my fault, not the guy who placed the round robins. Brady, I messed up. He stole that guy's phone and he changed all his bets. Brady's met. Yeah, I must have. I must have put in a bunch of round robins, including Jacob Malkoon, and didn't really end up well. Bobby Green is going to get choked out. I think so. Bunch of chokeholds. This card, I'm thinking a lot of subs as well. Next week's fight night is really stacked. I don't mind next week's card. I'm 6 or 7 fights already taped out of them. You are one of the best things to come to MMA betting and prediction making, Brady. F that 2% of haters. They're comical. Appreciate that for. I mean, yeah, it was just a comment that really caught me off guard because I had such a good night, and then he wrote like a story, like a whole story, how I'm to blame for his 20 leg parlays, and I don't know. I've given one parlay this year that was more, or one parlay ever that was more than 2 legs, and it was actually this year. It was a 3-leg parlay, and it didn't hit. So yeah, I try to keep the parlays to 2. Brady, are you racist? I am not. Kind of a weird question there, Jason saying I love Dawson by sub decision. He is DK old. He is absolutely DK gold, 100%. And Brady pressed his place the bet button, not him. Yeah, it was me. It was me. We got Match saying thanks, Brady. You are a pioneer in this game, so appreciate you, Match, and appreciate you, Loomis, as well. All right, guys. We did it. We're about an hour in. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to record my betting breakdown video. That'll be out around 8 or 9. And that'll be out there. And then tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time in the afternoon, we got Blood Money. We got Patrick Addicted to Combat, myself. We got a very good panel tomorrow for Best Bet. Looking forward to it. I know Blood Money has a lot of action on this card, including a max bet on one Philipe Lin. So ready to hear him talk about that. But yeah, appreciate you all hanging out. I had a good crowd for not the best card in the world, but it is what it is. Best of luck, guys. Like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you very soon. See you later.